Lawmakers at the state capitol in late July, but with the budget unfinished, the state is facing a multi-billion-dollar deficit, and it was only a matter of time before Governor Patterson called for a special session. Now, joining us tonight to talk more about this ongoing, actually seemingly never-ending debate about the budget is Senator Liz Krueger. She is the vice chair of the Senate Finance Committee and also a Democrat representing parts of Manhattan. Senator, thanks very much for joining me.
My pleasure.
So tonight we saw a sort of a strange, well, maybe not so strange, and that's part of the problem, right? We're getting to be connoisseurs of the gavel in, gavel out session.
Unfortunately, look, we know that there is three-way negotiations that have to be completed between Sheldon Silver, John Sampson, and Governor Patterson. We know that on Monday they had a meeting. There's different information about how much progress was made on Monday. My understanding is there were going to be follow-up discussions tonight. So the governor called us into special session, but we knew, to be honest, that discussions that got restarted on Monday couldn't possibly translate into a completed package by Wednesday night in print. And I would argue ultimately the revenue bill for the state is going to be one bill, not broken up into a bunch of different pieces.
Then what was the point? In other words, if in fact there was a meeting on Monday, which and we may or may not have gone well, depending on who you talk to.
Correct.
And then the Republicans made a pretty good point, although they made it over and over in a way that was a little bit combative. But there were no bills. The governor sent no bills for the extraordinary session. So he hauls you all back here with no deals, and the cost to the taxpayers is $100,000 and change. So what's the point?
Well, I would have preferred if he didn't call us back into the special session, but the Senate believes that if the governor calls you, you are supposed to come. I showed up this morning. I reviewed his proclamation. It was 10 items. Some of the items were, in fact, in some version of a revenue bill that he's given us. Remember, he's given us two right now, so we're still not sure which one he's working off, the original revenue bill from January or the revenue bill dated July 13th.
Right.
So, which is why really, we need final negotiations to complete the tough issues, and they're still tough issues. Let's face it, when a state doesn't have money and we don't have money, they're all tough issues, and we're seeing the stress and the tension between parties, between houses, between the governor and the legislature, between the public's frustration and anger. And you're right, nobody wants to be here in July. Nobody wants a budget not complete. We're all running for re-election and having to explain what the hell goes on up here.
And what are you saying? I mean, how do you explain that with some angry constituent? I mean, I'm sure you've seen the signs. They're all over the Capital Region. Vote them out. Vote them out. Vote them out. It's completely generic. Then Mickey Carroll has a poll out that says more people now, the numbers are flipped, say not just do I hate the entire body, sort of by principle, but I hate the person who is representing me. That's a very unusual thing. So what do you say?
I think every single member has to go home and explain themselves to their voters. And it does vary by district. I was out petitioning. I am running for re-election. I have angry people going, what is going on there? And I try my best to explain what I think is happening and what role I've tried to play in a constructive way, and the difficulties in bad economic times to have to come to closure, and the recognition. You know, I love how people keep saying, well, if one Democrat doesn't show up, you can't complete the budget.
One Democrat did not show up today.
And 4 Republicans didn't show up today. But no one even thinks about that because they just assume the Republicans are going to block vote no.
Well, but they have been, so why should we expect anything else?
That's a frustration also that I try to explain to constituents. That yes, you need 32 votes in the Senate, and that it's very disturbing that week after week, month after month, Republicans block voted no on everything, which meant the only way to get anything done in the Senate was a 100% agreement of all Democrats. And let's be honest, it's a big state. There's strong differences of opinion, and there should be. That's healthy for democracy. The problem is, with no room for disagreement, it's extremely difficult to come to completion.
Okay, so what breaks the logjam? In other words, we're talking about the revenue bill. We heard earlier from Bill Stokowski. He is one of the holdouts. He says he's linked these two issues. Well, actually, the governor started it, right? The governor linked the SUNY Empowerment Program, which is crucial to UB 2020, which is a big deal for viewers, and Bill Stokowski in Buffalo. He says, I can't vote on your revenue bill, providing that crucial 30-second vote, until we do something with SUNY empowerment. In the meantime, Shelley Silver doesn't want to do SUNY empowerment. So where are we now in those talks? Because there's been talk of maybe there could be, from that Monday meeting that you referenced, maybe there could be a pilot in which Buffalo gets to do something and nobody else can do it. Maybe not. Who knows? Where are we?
In fact, I do believe that in the three-way discussions that started Monday, there was a proposal for a pilot model.
From the Senate.
For the Senate, I believe that there is definitely openness by the Assembly to getting something done. Now, when any individual senator says, if I don't have X in the budget, I won't vote for it. Again, in most legislative bodies, that just means somebody else is going to vote for it. And the dilemma for us is if that one senator continues to be a no, and yet none of 29 Republican senators will actually think they are supposed to vote to get the budget done, yes, we will continue to have a logjam. I think it's all about good or bad negotiating skills. I don't think there's one legislator who believes that the final bills of the budget will be any more perfect than any of the rest of the budget bills, and that we've all had to compromise. We've all had to take votes we don't like. Look, I'm not a big supporter of a tax cap for property taxes. I don't philosophically like tax caps. I have voted for that bill several times because it has been a critical, important issue for my colleagues outside the 5 big cities where this is an issue.
Okay.
You have to compromise as a legislator.
So what might there be